In this video, I'm going to explain the process of how money is created and how it obtains its value. When I was younger, I was always confused as to how pieces of paper printed with numbers and faces of presidents and monarchs let people buy real valuable goods like a phone or a car. Well, it all comes down to three things: debt, taxes, and your freedom. And there are two institutions involved in the process creating and legitimizing paper money: the government and the central bank. The process starts with debt. All money is debt, as we will see. Step one in this magical money creation process is the government creates a shiny note called a government bond. Bond is another word for debt, so it can also be called government debt. This bond is then classified as a financial instrument, also known as an asset, because whoever buys it will get a return on their investment. For example, a 10-year 4% bond means that if you invest £1,000, you will receive £40 a year for 10 years, and at the end of that period you will also get your initial investment of £1,000 back. So over 10 years you make £400 from a £1,000 investment. This is made possible because the government has the power to tax people in order to pay off the interest on the debt. Once the government has created this magical instrument, it is then offered to the public for purchase. Usually the public will buy some but not all the government bonds, because typically they pay a low, unenticing interest, and there are other profitable ways to invest, like the stock market. This is when the government's best friend and business partner, the central bank, comes into play. The government bonds that the public doesn't buy with their hard-earned money are bought by the central bank. This is when the real magic happens. The central bank turns on the money computer, presses the print money button, and magically creates money out of thin air to buy the government bond. This printed money is then transferred to the government bank account, where it's free to be used in the real world. Once the money is in the real world, it is deposited in the banking system. This is the piece de resistance of the magic show. Banks are allowed to create magical money from deposits. For example, for every £1,000 deposited, the bank can create at least an additional £9,000 of magical money through something called fractional reserve banking. This new magical money, which is created out of nothing tangible, can then be used by the bank to be lent out for a mortgage or a business loan, etc. So this additional magical bank money becomes an asset for the bank, because once it's been loaned out, the bank will earn interest as the debt is being paid off by the person that took out the loan. If anyone else did this, it would be a crime. But because the government and the central bank work together and are in charge of the rules of law, they have decided this is legal. The reason is that both parties benefit from this relationship. The government benefits by getting access to easy money instantly without the need to raise taxes. Raising taxes is never a good policy for a government that wants to be re-elected, so this is a convenient solution. The central bank, which is a friend of the banking system, obtains the benefit of having free rein to control the flow of money in the financial system, and thereby can guarantee that the big important banks won't fail. An example is the 2008 financial crisis, when big banks took big risks by creating too much magical money, which was mismanaged and later became unprofitable, and if they weren't bailed out by the central bank, they would have gone bankrupt. This leads us to the second part: taxation and your freedom. When you hear the word bailout, you might be wondering, how is that possible? Where did the central bank get the money from? The money comes from you, the taxpayer. Because the financial system is built around taxing you, the people, you end up paying for it through a higher burden of debt on your tax-paying shoulders, which leads to inflation. This is why over the years you keep noticing that the price of almost everything keeps rising, whether it's goods or services like food or energy, or assets like property or gold. Another way to look at it is that the currency is being devalued by excessive printing. Governments have made it law that the money that central banks print is the only money to be used for trade. We call this fiat money because it's not backed by a commodity like gold or silver like it was in the past, but simply by the trust we have in the government.
If you print your own money, you'll be persecuted and you'll go to prison.
So to summarize, by using coercive measures like threatening the public with the loss of their freedom if they don't follow the set monetary rules, the government and central bank create the trust and therefore value in the paper money we use. And because we all have faith and trust that the government will be able to enforce the rules and everyone will follow them, we continue to use the paper money that isn't backed by anything tangible. So, as you can see, The only way for the system to work is for the government to incentivize or coerce as many people as possible to work for printed money that loses its value over time. As you trade your time and labor for this money, you are then required to pay taxes so that the government can keep paying the interest on the government bond, aka the government debt that they issued. Essentially, you can think of the government as a bailiff or a debt enforcement agent whose goal is to collect taxes from everyone in order to maintain law and order in society and for the current monetary system to continue as it is. This brings me full circle to my first point. It all starts with debt. If there was no debt, there would be no money. If everyone in the world simultaneously went into their bank to withdraw the money that is shown on their screen balance, they will quickly find out that it's not there and never will be. The mortgage you get from the bank to buy your house is just debt which the bank made by pressing the create money button. You then have to go to work to pay off that magically appearing debt with interest. Without someone trading their time and labor to pay back a magically created debt, there would be no money in the system. Debt makes the world go around, not money.